Ready, Prime. Let's roll.
Autobots roll out. Transformers 1984 wasn't just a cartoon built to sell toys. It was a high-pressure production experiment that reshaped Saturday morning television. It wasn't smooth. It was chaotic. Voice actors collapsed from exhaustion. Animators fought impossible deadlines. Entire scenes were rewritten at dawn because Hasbro changed toy names overnight, and the show's most iconic moments were born from scrambling panic in tiny recording booths. Today, we are cracking open 15 wild facts about Transformers 1984. Fact number 15. The show is rushed into existence in record time.
What could be causing it? Teletran, survey the local power stations.
Order. Acknowledge.
Transformers 1984 doesn't begin like a carefully planned cultural juggernaut. It begins like a race, a wild sprint. Hasbro wants a show on air immediately to compete with He-Man and G.I. Joe. So Marvel Productions is handed a near-impossible task: build an entire mythology from scratch in a few months. Not years, months. Writers are locking themselves in small offices. Dailies arrive incomplete. Call sheets change hourly. It isn't a steady production, it is a storm. Flawed models, inconsistent transformations, missing character sheets. Every department is drowning. What audiences didn't know is that the rushed schedule creates some of the show's signature quirks. The sometimes off-model animation, the bizarre errors, the sudden character disappearances. It isn't incompetence, it is survival. Artists push through brutally long nights to keep the episodes moving. And somehow that fire-drill pressure births a universe that becomes legendary. Transformers isn't polished, it is forged in chaos. Fact number 14. Optimus Prime's voice nearly goes to someone else.
But our new intergalactic transport system is almost complete. Excellent.
Peter Cullen is now synonymous with Optimus Prime, but the casting isn't guaranteed. Not safe, not obvious. Marvel and Hasbro originally consider multiple actors, including deeper, harsher voices modeled after classic military commanders. Cullen walks into the booth with one idea: play Prime like his older brother, a wounded Marine whose voice carries strength without arrogance. It isn't loud, it isn't theatrical, it is calm, it is grounded. The producers stare at him after the first take. Silence. Then someone says, "That's the one," and everything changes. But here's the twist fans never see. Cullen almost doesn't audition. He is exhausted from back-to-back gigs and considers skipping it entirely. His agent pushes him to just go. One decision, one afternoon, and the most iconic leader in 80s animation exists. Not a bombastic general, a quiet protector, a father figure. Optimus Prime emerges not from marketing strategy, but from a brother's memory. Fact number 13. The animation is outsourced to studios that are barely surviving.
You picked up a great beat on your supercar stereo, Jazz.
You dig it, huh, Spike?
The bright colors and explosive transformations hide a brutal truth. The show isn't animated in lush corporate studios. It is produced in tiny, overworked companies in Japan and South Korea operating under economic strain. Toei Animation handles major chunks, but even Toei is juggling multiple American contracts at once. This means Transformers becomes a battlefield of competing deadlines. Animators sleep under desks. Layout artists rush so fast they forget character scale charts. Whole teams collapse from 70-hour workweeks. It isn't glamorous. It is survival animation, and the consequences show up everywhere. Arm cannons vanish between cuts. Megatron's helmet changes shape mid-fight. Starscream appears in scenes where he shouldn't be alive. Fans joke about animation errors, but behind those mistakes is a studio racing against financial collapse. Not sloppy work, desperate work. But through that desperation, animators inject energy that keeps the show visually electric. They create dynamic transformations that define an era. Fact number 12. The writers' fight. A constant war with Hasbro.
What is it?
Laserbeak, prepare for flight. Operation
Every episode is a negotiation, a tug of war, a battle. Hasbro demands toy accuracy. Marvel demands story logic. Notes arrive constantly. Add this character. Remove this one. This toy is delayed. This toy is discontinued. That single sentence forces entire scripts to collapse overnight. Writers respond by creating massive ensemble stories to hide the instability. It isn't elegant. It is tactical. They write fast. They write wild. They build mythology while executives rewrite the battlefield under their feet. What audiences didn't know is that several beloved characters only exist because of lost toy memos. Bumblebee survives early cancellations because a Hasbro note literally goes missing. Jetfire is renamed Skyfire to dodge legal mines. And the writers constantly dodge direct contradictions created by shifting toy designs. Not creative freedom, creative warfare. And in that war, the show's mythos accidentally becomes richer, more unpredictable, more alive. Fact number 11. Frank Welker creates Megatron's voice with a dangerous technique.
Bumblebee reporting for duty. You're late again.
Frank Welker is a vocal wizard, but Megatron isn't easy. He experiments with metal scrapes, guttural distortion, and harsh compression. Eventually, he lands on a technique involving throat constriction and rapid airflow that gives Megatron that razor-edged snarl. It sounds great. It feels brutal, but there's a cost. Welker says in interviews that the voice hurts, not metaphorically, physically. Sessions leave him coughing, eyes watering, clutching his throat between takes. Engineers hand him water every few minutes because the strain dries him out instantly. Not theatrical pain, real pain. Yet he pushes through because the voice matters. It must sound dangerous. It must sound weaponized. And every recording session becomes a balancing act between performance and injury. What audiences didn't know is that Megatron's signature menace is literally pulled from Welker's vocal cords under pressure. A villain forged from strain, not just acted. Extracted. Fact number 10. The mid-season animation collapse.
Must try to communicate with Megatron.
That nearly kills the show. By the time the team reaches the midpoint of Season 1, the production machine is already cracking. Entire episodes arrive from overseas with unfinished sequences. Characters slide across frames. Background plates vanish. The infamous wrong character in the wrong scene. Problems explode. Editors panic. Directors panic. Hasbro panics. It isn't a gentle slowdown. It is a full production collapse. Marvel scrambles. Extra editors are flown in. Entire transformation sequences are rebuilt at the last minute using recycled footage. Scripts are rewritten to accommodate missing animation. And all of this unfolds under suffocating deadlines that leave no room for rest or revision. This crisis is so overwhelming that the crew privately fears the show will be pulled after a single season. It isn't incompetence, it is overload. Too much content, too little time, too many demands. And right here, mid-chaos, your mid-roll hook arrives. Go ahead and like and subscribe because this is where the darkest secrets of Transformers 1984 begin to erupt. Fact number 9. Starscream's personality evolves from ad-libs and panic.
Soon I will have a shipment large enough to send to Cybertron.
Starscream is unforgettable, loud, treacherous, dramatic, but that personality doesn't fully exist on the page. Not at first. Early scripts portray him as a generic villain lieutenant, sharp, cold, predictable. Then actor Chris Latta walks into the booth and detonates the character with a voice that sounds like a jet engine melting down. His delivery isn't subtle, it is volcanic. Latta throws wild ad-libs between takes. He exaggerates lines. He adds a shrill, frantic edge the writers never imagined. Directors are caught off guard, but they decide to lean into it because everything else in the series is already spiraling. Latta's chaotic energy forces rewrites. Suddenly, Starscream isn't just a henchman. He is a wild card, not a quiet traitor, but an exploding fuse. not a background presence, but a scene stealer. Writers begin shaping arcs around the voice. Animators exaggerate gestures to match the madness. And slowly Starscream transforms from a footnote into a defining villain, not planned. Born from chaos. Fact number 8. Sound effects. Teams use real machinery to build the robot voices.
I'll get them after I've taken care of you!
The iconic robotic vocal distortion isn't a simple filter. It isn't a button on a console. It is a handcrafted, labor-intensive process involving analog gear, tape manipulation, and real industrial sounds. Engineers experiment with modulated radio interference, mechanical winches, servo motors, and even malfunctioning air compressors. They build a layered soundscape that feels mechanical without muting the emotion of the actors. It is a collision of machine and human performance, but the process is brutal. Editors splice tape by hand. They re-record lines at multiple speeds. They mix metallic resonance through primitive hardware that overheats under the stress. Not modern digital filters. Physical devices cooking under pressure. What audiences didn't know is that some of the show's most famous voices are shaped from real factory equipment. Gears grinding, motors whining, machinery failing. The result is a sound signature unlike anything else in 1980s animation. Sharp, raw, industrial. And it cements Transformers as something more than a cartoon. Something mechanical, something alive. Fact number 7. Bumblebee survives. Only because of a lost memo.
A concussion blast! Back! Move back!
Bumblebee is now one of the franchise's most beloved characters. But behind the scenes, he nearly disappears before the show even airs. Hasbro originally plans to phase him out early because his G1 toy underperforms in initial tests compared to larger figures. A memo announcing his removal is drafted, circulated, and then vanishes, literally lost in the shuffle of dozens of overnight toy updates. Without that memo reaching the writing staff, Bumblebee remains in scripts. By the time Hasbro notices, the episodes are already animated. Air dates are locked. Merchandising tie-ins are printed. It becomes impossible to remove him without tearing the season apart. Not a strategic choice, an accident. And that accident saves the character. Bumblebee's gentle tone and relatable scale become essential to balancing the cast's heavier personalities. Kids respond instantly. Fan mail erupts. Hasbro reverses course and begins promoting him heavily. A lost sheet of paper rewrites Transformers history. Fact number 6. The voice booth becomes a pressure cooker of rivalries.
It's never too late, Autobot.
The cast is extraordinary, but the booth isn't always harmonious. Recording sessions pack multiple actors together for efficiency. This means performances collide. Personalities clash. High-energy actors like Chris Latta push the room into chaos while others try to hold scenes steady. Frank Welker and Peter Cullen anchor the sessions with calm professionalism, but tension still erupts. Actors race to nail takes before vocal fatigue sets in. Scripts are rewritten while they're reading. Directors shout cues over malfunctioning headphones. Engineers rush to adjust levels as character voices roar over each other. It isn't a clean production, it is a pressure cooker. And those rivalries bleed into the show's energy. Megatron versus Starscream. Prime versus Megatron. Even minor conflicts echo real recording tension, not scripted aggression. Real emotion leaking into performance. What audiences didn't know is that the booth atmosphere directly shapes the dynamic tone of the series. Authentic friction creates authentic drama. Fact number 5. Entire episodes are built from recycled shots.
Next time, Prime!
Transformers isn't animated with endless resources. It is built with patches. The editors rely heavily on recycled shots because the overseas studios can't deliver enough new footage on time. Transformation sequences, explosions, even running cycles are reused dozens of times. This isn't laziness, it's necessity. Editors scramble to match old footage with new dialogue. Directors rewrite transitions to hide repeated action beats. And somehow it works. The repetition becomes part of the show's rhythm. Familiar shots gain new meaning depending on the context. Audiences see consistency. Behind the scenes, it's survival, not creative luxury. Creative triage. Fact number 4. Soundwave's voice nearly breaks the equipment.
So we were expected here after all.
And I insist that you stay.
Soundwave's iconic modulated voice comes from a brutal process. Engineers route the actor's performance through analog harmonizers pushed far beyond safe levels. The machines overheat, components buzz, tape reels jam. One engineer recalls the device smelling like burning metal. But the distortion is perfect, cold, mechanical, alien. The risk becomes part of the character. Every line is a battle between human voice and failing machinery. The sound team pushes gear so hard that they keep backup units ready because breakdowns are constant. Not accidental genius. Engineered danger. Soundwave sounds robotic because the machines shaping his voice are literally pushed to their limits. Fact number 3. The show introduces new characters before their toys exist.
Sorry, Spike. It looks like we've run out of time.
So has Megatron! Look!
Most cartoons follow toy schedules. Transformers breaks that rule constantly. Scripts are written before toy molds finalize. Hasbro's prototypes change weekly. That means writers introduce characters who don't physically exist yet. No final colors, no instructions, no transformation details. Writers improvise descriptions. Animators guess the mechanics. Sometimes their guesses contradict the eventual toy, causing continuity chaos months later. But this creative gamble pays off. Characters develop personalities before they become merchandise. Their identities shape their toys, not the other way around. Not marketing leading story. Story leading marketing. A rare inversion that gives the show unexpected depth. Fact number 2. The battle scenes push animators to the breaking point.
That's the end of Prime and the Autobots.
Transformers battle scenes look wild and explosive, but each shot demands intense manual work. Explosions must be hand-painted. Laser blasts require frame-by-frame overlays. Transformation sequences need precise motion arcs that are nearly impossible under tight deadlines. The stress becomes overwhelming. Animators report falling asleep at desks. Supervisors cut entire sequences to keep the schedule alive. The energy on screen comes from real exhaustion behind it. Not effortless action. Price-paid action. Every blast and explosion is the result of a studio pushing itself to the edge. Audiences see adrenaline. Artists feel burnout. Fact number 1. Optimus Prime's death was discussed in 1984.
Yes?
The bridge is located in a cave 96.4 miles.
2 years before the 1986 movie, Hasbro privately raises the possibility of cycling out older characters to refresh toy lines. Optimus Prime is on that list. The writers refuse. Marvel's team argues that Prime is the emotional anchor of the IEO entire brand. Meetings get tense. Hasbro wants novelty. Writers want stability. The idea doesn't die. It simply gets shelved until the feature film. What audiences didn't know is that the emotional shock of Prime's death begins as a 1984 business discussion, not a narrative choice, a toy decision, one that almost reshapes the show before it even begins. Bonus fact, Hasbro secretly prepares.
Megatron! What happened?
A backup leader to replace Optimus. Deep inside early Hasbro documents is a contingency plan, a new Autobot commander designed in case Optimus Prime fails as a character. A bulkier robot, more aggressive, more obviously toyetic. Notes describe him only as Leader Prototype A. His colors shift across drafts. His personality changes weekly. He is built entirely through marketing speculation. He never appears, because Optimus becomes too beloved too quickly. Fan response kills the plan. Not destiny, not inevitability. Audience power rewrites corporate strategy before it launches. Transformers 1984 looks like a simple Saturday cartoon. It isn't. It is a battlefield of deadlines, accidents, improvisations, risks, and human grit. A show held together by exhausted artists, overloaded engineers, underpaid animators, and voice actors giving everything they have. Its legacy isn't perfection. Its legacy is resilience. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the chaos behind the Autobots and Decepticons, like, subscribe, and roll out for more secrets Hollywood never wanted you to know.